Yo, what the f is up, boys and girls? My name is Fallout Mother Plays, and as of Thursday, February 27th, Bungie's own Luke Smith has confirmed that the artifact, the seasonal artifact, is officially being disabled for the newly announced Trials of Osiris. My God in heaven! Maggie, play something powerful and victorious right now. And also copyright free, of course. Oh, glory be to the Traveler. You know, we have so much to talk about with the recent TWAB, but I absolutely had to open up this video on that note. If you hadn't heard the whole snafu, you can watch my previous video about Trials, but everyone and their mama talking about how Trials was already gonna be a drag due to unlimited artifact power. And it's no longer a thing. Oh man, I feel like I could lift 1,000 pounds right now. Whew, okay. Gonna calm down. A little extra clarification. I think we're still gonna be able to use the mods on our seasonal artifact in Iron Banner and in Trials, but the power level granted by your artifact, that is gone for PvP. Bye, Felicia. A big thank you to everyone, and wow, I mean everyone, who politely and calmly voiced their concern about the artifact to Bungie. And man, I am so hyped for Trials right now. Moving on, the recent TWAB, aka This Week at Bungie, going over major upcoming changes to subclasses. We only have a little bit to cover right now, but that's okay. The changes given to us for the subclasses appear to only be the tip of the iceberg right now. They're giving us an appetizer, if you will, and the main course will all be revealed in the Season 10 patch notes as we get closer to March 10th. So with that in mind, here's what Bungie is giving us a preview of right now. First up, the Warlock Melee. Oh, it's been like the Sandbox team has been reading journal entries right out of my diary. If you don't remember, I actually made a video on this kinda recently, maybe one of the best YouTube thumbnails I've ever made, which explains this phenomenon. Warlocks right now essentially have slower follow-up melees than both Hunters and Titans, so if you get into a close range slap fight as a Warlock, your odds of living are pretty bad. While Bungie isn't giving Warlocks a faster follow-up melee, they are extending the Warlock's basic melee range by 1 meter, taking it to a grand total of 5.5 meters. You know what? I'll take it. As long as you finagle it just right as a Warlock, this could mean that you could outslap Titans and Hunters in a melee fight if you back up at the right time and outrange them. Not really a huge change, but it matters to me and all the other space magic floofy boys out there. Moving on, next we have Titan Barricades. With Trials coming up, Bungie made note that the Titan Barricade is a pretty powerful tool because you can throw it up real quick and grab a safe teammate revive. In Season 10, they want to both beef up the health of the barricade from 500 to 600, but also give us more ways to counter the Titan Barricade. Sorry to all of you crayon eaters out there. Barricades will now take extra damage from special ammo weapons, certain power weapons, and anti-barrier weapons. I'm assuming they're referring to the anti-barrier weapon mods on the seasonal artifact. I kinda wonder if that's also going to include armor-piercing rounds? You know, the weapon perk? Probably not, but it did make me wonder. For right now, just assume they mean the artifact weapon mod, anti-barrier. What weapons are going to do how much more to barriers? Snipers, grenade launchers, linear fusions, machine guns, trace rifles, and anti-barrier weapons will all do an extra 20% damage to barricades. Shotguns and fusion rifles, though, will do a whopping 60% extra damage. Wow. I'd like to point out that certain weapons like the Bastion Exotic Fusion can already make mincemeat of Titan barricades, so Bastion lovers in particular, rejoice. In Season 10, you'll probably be able to shred the barricade and the Titan together all at once with just one trigger pull on the Bastion. Next change, we have something that everyone was expecting: tweaks to one-shot abilities. Bungie's main goal here was apparently to tune the risk/reward factor of one-shot abilities. Translation, many of them are way too easy to pull off, and it's silly AF. They also mentioned that some of these seem extreme on paper, but to not panic. We'll see. And with that, let's kick things off with the Titan shoulder charge ability, all 3 of them across each available subclass. Bungie is reducing the auto-targeting angle by 50%. Sounds like a lot, but they go on to say the Titans could previously auto-target to make an instant 90-degree turn, and that ain't right. They're also changing the auto lunging distance to 5.5 meters. Now that is a reduction for targeted lunges, which are currently 6 meters, but it's an extension for untargeted lunges, currently at 4.5 meters. Fair enough. Next up, we have the Hunter's weighted throwing knife, which, by the way, incredibly fun. Love that stupid little knife and how hard it hits. Bungie is reducing the tracking significantly and creating new tracking that will make the knife feel more faithful to its initial throw trajectory. Makes sense to me. The hit detection and tracking on the Hunter's weighted knife right now, very, very generous. Really, I can't go 2 minutes on Twitter without tripping over some PvP clip of 18 schmucks getting knifed in a row in one game. Now the ability that everyone was asking to be changed, and by everyone, I mean non-Warlock mains. I'm of course talking about Handheld Supernova. I think I may have mentioned this before, but Bungie is notorious for occasionally over-nerfing things into the ground, and that seems to be happening to Handheld Supernova right now. But you know what? To be fair, it's had its time in the sun. Here are the changes. They're increasing the activation time by 0.6 seconds. They are reducing the hold time, aka how long you can hold the full charge in your hand before releasing, from 3.5 to 2.5 seconds. They're reducing the range by 20%. They are tightening the horizontal spread of bolts by 25%. Bolt explosions now do self-damage, meaning if you're too close to an enemy when you release the handheld, you may actually be able to damage or even kill yourself. And they're reducing the bolt explosion radius from 3 meters to 2.5 meters. I'm gonna be real with you, that is a lot of changes made to one ability. But again, handheld had it coming. I do think every class should have a one-hit ability, but handheld was very easy to use. They also mentioned that the Controverse Hold exotic gauntlets are getting tuned, but they didn't mention what the change would be right now. Overall, now that I think about it, handheld almost sounds like it's turning into full choke, the shotgun barrel. Think about it, they're cutting the range, but they're also tightening the spread, which they mention leads to more concentrated damage, improving handheld's ability to combat roaming supers. Not bad. It sounds like handheld will still have the potential to be good, but it probably won't be as obscenely powerful in the meta as it is right now. Also, because Nova Warlocks are getting the shaft, other elements of Middle Tree Voidwalker are getting buffed, including Nova Warp, which, if you were wondering, is getting more damage resistance, a longer duration, and reduced cost for blinking. You know what? I'm on board. On paper, at the moment, that sounds like a fair trade. Maybe not the best trade for middle Void Tree Warlocks, but fair. Finally, Bungie calls out that they will in fact be making more changes to a number of subclasses that have proven to be very consistently strong over time. Stormcaller top tree, Striker bottom tree, and Arcstrider bottom tree have all been really strong in PvP for multiple seasons. These paths and others are being adjusted in Season 10 to bring them closer to the middle of the pack. On the other hand, really underused subclasses like Voidwalker bottom tree, Nightstalker bottom tree, and Striker middle tree are getting some much needed love. More on that, I'm sure, in the upcoming March patch notes. Oh, and one final note from Bungie before moving on. Hunter trip mines are getting a buff. They are going to be able to unicorn people again. You know what I'm talking about. Throw a trip mine at an enemy, it touches the enemy, it sticks to the enemy goes boom. Fun times. Anyway, that is all the changes for right now. Obviously, there will be more next season along with everything else listed in last week's TWAB, which covered weapon changes. In the meantime, are you satisfied by these changes? Do you think Bungie's making a good call here, or are they nerfing something you really enjoyed? Sound off below in the comment section and let's talk about it. If you enjoyed today's content, please click the like button and don't forget to hit subscribe and help me one day take over the planet. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.